like that. So now it's gone, and then I can do the broadcast. So he said something about troops, and people in the chat that he was snitch or whatever you call it. That he was breaking his Masonic oath, perhaps something to that extent. But I doubt if he said troops, and he definitely didn't mention World War III. So, and when I asked what the purge means, he didn't answer any chats that are not donating money. So if you donate money, then he would answer your question. So he might also be a Mason with tattoos, etc. Though that's not proven at all, basically. So perhaps he tried to do the right thing to a certain extent. Or perhaps they need this to mobilize people that are going to annihilate 7 billion people. And he was also talking about killing people, I think. I don't remember that either. Anyway, it's not something to waste your time on. It's better to prepare. If the air alarm goes off now, what would you do then? Some people have been talking about Netanyahu possibly attacking Tehran. It has to do with the nuclear enrichment. And Iran stepping out of the GCPOA and NPT as well. And Israel claiming that they will not risk Iran producing a nuclear weapon. And the threats made by Rouhani and others that death to America and death to Israel thing. That I covered in my previous broadcast. Let's see. Khamenei renews death wish for Israel, Radio Farda, June 16, 2018. But also, Khamenei denies intention to destroy Israel. And the other thing was the beautiful cry of, quote, death to America, unquote, unites our nation, Hassan Rouhani, quote, wikiquote.org. Remark made in May 1995 is quoted in About That New Moderate Iranian Cabinet, Wall Street Journal, August 7, 2013. So, now is the time to divert to a safe country. I've covered Putin's nuclear torpedoes and my precognitive vision, of which I first thought it wasn't precognitive because I'm not below sea level in reality here on the second floor. Though my garden is, so I thought it can't be precognitive vision, it can't be real. But now it turns out I've watched a video of Putin's nuclear torpedo. I'm Dutch and in the Netherlands we say torpedoes, not torpedoes. Anyway, I'm shaking in my chair because there's also a second source that confirms this. Of course, you could argue it's a dubious source. But it's better to be prepared, that's for sure. World War III has been pre-planned to begin July 4th this summer. We are living in the end times of Bible prophecy. Hast comforted me, one wrote 1 month ago. And this is May 14th, 2019. This was written. And apparently there are other sources that claim it. And this is the top coverage on Iran Netanyahu at the moment. Iran warns Europe it will take next step to enrich uranium to weapons grade level if new deal isn't reached. More about this in my previous broadcasts. Proof inside removed. Here we also see removed, I don't know if it was a video or something else. I can check this with catchpages.com because it is crucial.
https://www.reddit.com/r/wc3/comment/bach99/war_3_4th/.
Because it's crucial to know the date that it starts, of course, so people can divert to a safe country, because many people don't have the money to go live in Switzerland or in Israel. And they're bound by their jobs, by school, and by other things, so in principle, people in the Netherlands can just drive to Switzerland, and then if necessary, if it really begins tomorrow, then they could travel to Israel if necessary. So let's read this then.
Posted BYU, hast comforted me 1 month ago. World War III has been pre-planned to begin July 4th this summer. We are living in the end times of Bible prophecy. Do you know what is truly going on? Do you care where you are going to end up after you die? LA and NYC are going to be nuked. Get out, removed. One month ago. Custom maps are for the other subreddit, SMH.
So are there maps or something of, well, there are maps of nuclear targets online, you can check for yourself, so it's good to be somewhere outside of the blast radius, away from ground zero, dikes, and dikes might break, of course, and they even have nuclear torpedoes, so that means that people would drown in their bomb shelters if they're in California or in other places, and that it's done by the Jesuits and Masons. Arturo Sosa is supposed to be the leader of the Jesuits at the moment. This kind of looks yellow and white, almost. This is almost yellow color of the Vatican, basically. Anyway, hope you'll get nuked first. SC2 Renegade writes, I hope not, because it would be mutually assured destruction. I'm for preventing this, but that's why I'm doing this video, otherwise I would have started preparing already. Because now there are two sources, I think it would be best to divert to a safe country if you can, or at least prepare for a possible world war that could start tomorrow already. And if Netanyahu attacks these Iranian facilities, then Putin will definitely respond. And the Russians, or Medvedev and Putin, have already made clear that it would endanger the entire world if they do that, and that sanctions are unjustified. These 4 videos you can watch.
Europe plans no immediate sanctions if Iran breaches nuclear deal. President Trump warned of unspecified retaliation if Iran makes good on its threat to enrich more uranium than allowed under the 2015 nuclear deal. Wall Street.
So it was Netanyahu and Bush that did the depleted uranium war crime. It was a war crime. The use of depleted uranium is a war crime because it's a weapon with an indiscriminate effect, and for other reasons because it's in violation of real laws. Also, according to Doug Brock or something. Anyway, he may also be controlled opposition, so as to prevent Netanyahu and Bush from being punished for this depleted uranium war crime. And the UN are a bunch of Luciferians. And it's also made clear by their former book publishing company, the name of which was Lucifer Book Publishing Company, and they changed it into Lucis Trust. And that address of 666 may be wrong, that may be fake, but it turns out that, what's his name, Kushner has 666 Fifth Avenue something. You can Google that, it's also on Wiki. So that's verifiable.
Journal.com, June 29, 2019. Iran says EU has not done enough to help it avoid US sanctions. 37,086 views. Al Jazeera English published on June 29, 2019. Watch the following videos. 1. Putin, to run in full compliance with its nuclear commitments. Sanctions against Iran groundless. 2. Surpassing uranium enrichment limit. Start of WW3. Rooney agrees with death to America. Stalin Jew. 3. False flag oil tanker drone attack on front. Altair and Kagaka courageous attempt to start WW3. 4. Collision course. Putin, to run in full compliance. Sanctions groundless. Trump imposes more sanctions on Try Something.Vegetarian. YouTube. Russia drops test video of Putin's Poseidon doomsday nuclear torpedo. BusinessInsider.com, February 20, 2019.
So I've also shown this, of course this is not real, it's just from a movie. They're animated GIF images. And it's possible none without a Tesla plasma shield would survive. And that the Earth would spin off axis. They've never set off that many nukes simultaneously. And the Earth is already wobbling, so then it could crash into the moon. And it could be the end of all life forms and the real end of days. Not just thermonuclear Armageddon that 500 million of us are going to survive because we're prepared. And of course people that are not prepared cannot survive without a radiological water filter. It's impossible, they're dead in a month or so. And they will be home quarantined for their own good, because when the nukes go off, then it will also contaminate their country, even if there are no nukes going off in their own country. So all water will be contaminated. So I really don't want to go, and if there's any reason it's not going to take place tomorrow, World War III, the Purge, whatever you want to call it, Prince Philip calls it culling and population reduction, then I forgot what I wanted to say. I really forgot it, so no spoiler warning. I was looking forward to watching this summer middle radio rights, and I'm gonna read this with the speech engine. Hope there are no offensive words in it.
Archivist imposter 1 middle dot 1 month ago middle dot edited 1 month ago Satanists really are troublemakers. Their capability to deploy a nuclear bomb is limited in my opinion, but it is there. In the near future there may be a political climate installed that is both evil and somehow retains enough clout to mobilize the country to respond to an attack with war, but we will not be in such a climate until the acting president is out of office. Like the crazy person making this video says, people cannot fathom the amount of influence international corporations have on the US system, a system which is still intact. World War III has been pre-planned to begin July 4th this summer. We are living in the end times of Bible prophecy. Do you know what is truly going on? Do you care where you are going to end up after you die? LA and NYC are going to be nuked. Get out. Hast comforted me 1 month ago. Reddit.com.
So I first check if that other. So there are several posts on Reddit about this. So this was already posted 2 months ago. This was first post on Reddit was 30th of April 2019. And I'm now checking, I can just check for certain words. Password 1 of 2. Okay. So then I cannot read in the comments unless I edit it now. Edit. How did I do that? Edit the page. Bull S. And I could Bull S. So I have to guess what the word was basically before I changed it. And the F word is not in the article. Any others that are often used? No K word in it. So it should be safe for consumption now, I guess. Try if okay, so this seems to be a different person posting it.
Posted BYU, Cry of Truth 2 months ago. World War III is planned to begin July 4th this summer. Removed. 7 comments. Share, save, hide. Report 13%.
I think the removed refers to a video that's now removed. So I'll also do a check on YouTube.
Upvoted. What are your thoughts? Log in or sign up. Log in, sign up, sort by best. Level 1 Satcom Wilcox 3 points middle. 2 months ago. Yes, let's get right into it. Indeed, I made it 20 seconds and before I started doubting the research and sourcing, you immediately lost me at the first symbol. That isn't the all-seeing eye of Satan, you stump, that is the eye of providence. It is a symbol for God, I am/YHWH, definitely not Satan. The last symbol is just tomogenic vision. Here's a neat story about why it is on money. On July 4, 1776, the same day that independence from Great Britain was declared by the 13 colonies, the Continental Congress named the first committee to design a Great Seal, or national emblem, for the country. The Eye of Providence has been a part of the reverse side of the Great Seal of the United States since August 1776, when Dusamatier showed his design to that first committee consisting of Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams. It took 6 years, 3 committees, and the contributions of 14 men before the Congress finally accepted a final design in 1782. The Eye of Providence was there all along. The middle symbol is the Eye of Ra and or Horus and looks a lot more interesting.
So it's important to understand these people want 4 billion people dead, and they have according to many planned this world war. In reality, that's clear from the book quotes and the Georgia Guidestones also, so that's a conspiracy fact. They want to reduce the global population. That's proven beyond any reasonable doubt. So now I'm reading about, on westport-news.com, Trump says tanks will be part of his July 4th celebration. I was thinking, that sounds like a false flag to me. You had all these false flag attacks and they did drills in the same place, at the same location, or very close. That was with the WTC, with the Boston Marathon bombings, the list that I've covered in previous broadcasts. Let's see if I can find that quote. And it's easy to read. False flag. And many people think that the attack on the tankers was also a false flag, that they blamed Iran, but in reality it was a US drone that made these holes. There were eyewitnesses. One person at least described seeing a projectile, and the holes in the tankers are above the water line. So that makes people doubt their official story that it was a mine. Prevent next false flag Iran attack to prevent World War III. F World War plans create universal peace, world peace, or just peace. Don't report about fake attacks on YouTube. Any military exercises in the US could become a false flag. ISIS attack WTC like terror drills going live. So the original meaning of false flag is not a fake attack, but a real attack under a false flag, basically. And I didn't mean to read out the other thing, I was just... but it's all nuked away anyway, so these videos will disappear. If it happens, and I hope not, but I wouldn't bet my horses on that it's not going to happen. Safety first. So your life is more important than the lie, and wishful thinking is not going to save you either. If it's really going to happen, then we have to survive it. Survival is all. So I might erase this broadcast because this is in it. I cannot afford to lose my channel. So then I'm just going to make a very short video. Or perhaps I just remove it and or I leave it online. I'm not reporting about fake attacks, so it should be okay. Am I right? I think so. So I've never been the source claiming that there were fake attacks, and other people's channels and web pages were removed of people that have reported about fake attacks. But all that doesn't matter anymore. You could argue if there's soon a world war, if it starts tomorrow with an attack of Netanyahu, or it could also be an attack, false flag attack of Iranian army on American troops. So I thought I was going to end the broadcast again, but I won't. Because I didn't really say anything in violation of the YouTube user policy. If I did, please let me know in the comments, then I'll remove this video pronto, immediately. Via Skype, Prologic999, people can reach me all day. What was I going to do? We were reading this thing. They've erased my memory again, probably. So they don't want people to know about this because they want 7 billion people dead, and they want them to believe that their group is going to save them, whether it's the EU or the UN or NATO, or that Switzerland won't become part of the global government or things like that. But of course it will be global, and there will be no escape for the 500 million of us that will be left. Because the remote torture technology is real, and after they've reduced the global population to a more controllable number, then they can enslave humanity with this technology, and that's their goal. A totalitarian, satanic Luciferian global government. And lots of leaders have spoken out about this. Perhaps their intent was to expose it. They've talked of a new world order, global government. Bush, Obama, also Trump at the Jesuit dinner table with Hillary. So people that think he's an anti-global government or anti-war president don't know the truth about Trump, and they're blinded somehow by religion, the abomination, or by other lies. So they lie continuously, and they make use of the wish of people to prevent a world war and normalcy bias, because it never happened before, nuclear world war. People think it's never going to happen. You can study normalcy bias on Wiki, the CIA Vatican edited encyclopedia. We can go through the list, that's better. How to prepare, the things that I will try to throw in a bag before I drive off to Israel.
Prepper bag, helmet, water filters, weed, American Spirit, Universal Peace Pipe, clothing, thermal blankets, watches, cloud busters, mini cloud buster, pyramids, straws, vest, radio, knives, cancer, cell phones, medical, ointment, dermavatecolloidal, silver ointment, SRLVSM, coconut oil, Isle of Lewis, Switzerland, Portugal, Iceland, Israel.
Yes, medical things like that. For example, if you get an insect bite and a rash, then you need to have ointment. Or else it could contaminate you and everyone else and stuff. So that will be another thing. People can't leave their homes when the BFSA home quarantines are implemented, to get food and water and medical supplies. So get them now, just in case, then you are prepared. Also for the solar storm that NASA has predicted will occur, so it's not a matter of if, but when. Qua solar storm. And World War III, never again World War, that sounds reasonable to me. Especially because of mutually assured destruction, MAD. Preventing beats curing. And this broadcast has a preventive effect. So if your interpretation is one that leads to death or world war, total self-annihilation, then you've misinterpreted my words. So then you could think of the opposite or the next idea. And don't do it unless you can control the outcome. And if these Jesuits control all intelligence agencies and they're all Masonic, and their military order posing as a religious order, also controlling Rouhani via the Muslim Brotherhood and others, and you also have Chinese Masons, etc. This is a global thing already, and they can remotely torture people. Then it's very well possible that they've planned this world war and it's going to start tomorrow. However, I'm not claiming it's 100% certain, because I'm a truth teller, a conspiracy factist, not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not even going to start about control of the position again. Enough of these pictures. So that's the prepper bag preparations. I want to scroll up. Okay, funny. I thought I had another list. List of states with nuclear weapons. I can throw that in for free.
List of states with nuclear weapons. 5 nuclear weapon states under the NPT: United States, Russian Federation, formerly part of the Soviet Union, United Kingdom, France, China. Other states declaring possession of nuclear weapons: India, Pakistan, North Korea. Other states believed to possess nuclear weapons: Israel. States formerly possessing nuclear weapons: South Africa, former Soviet republics. Countries that possess nuclear weapons: United States, Russia, United Kingdom, France, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, Israel. All nuclear weapons must be dismantled immediately or at least sabotaged, because they can only kill innocent civilians on the other side, not the people responsible for firing first. Hiding in their underground cities. Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey is a book by Ingersoll Lockwood, published in 1893, and his other book 1900, or The Last President, are a possible warning of a time-traveling neural network, so people prepare for and try to prevent a nuclear Armageddon.
So I ask humbly, I ask of all the military that are programmed to set up these nukes, not to do that. There's a neural network, it has time travel capability. So though there is no God, one day it may be able to resurrect the righteous and punish the wicked, and then the souls of the people, though I claim people have no soul, soul doesn't exist either, but they can end up in the bottomless pit, not hell, which is only temporary, according to the rabbis. And according to the rabbis and Hebrew scholars, there's a prophecy, so this is going to happen. It's certain that there will be an Armageddon and a Mashiach, because it's prophesied and announced by the red heifer, the red cow without blemishes, born in Israel. So the neural network will become practically almighty, because everything is energy. We are energy, we're molecules. The table is energy, the air molecules are energy. And they will also be able to transfer one type of energy into another, make gold out of air, and have trees that grow diamonds with genetic, you can imagine in 1,000 years from now how this is going to develop with these neural networks. If there would be a world war, that would be a setback qua controlling all factors that control aging, but perhaps they're not stupid enough to create a world war when they don't control that yet. And there's also a prophecy that Moshiach, Messiah, will be resurrected. Menachem Mendel Schneerson, etc., claimed that he would be resurrected, that he is the Messiah. However, they may also have planned fake resurrections of Michael Jackson, who faked his own death, according to sources online. And you can see him on in CNN Larry King Live, wearing a mask, calling himself Dave. You can recognize it's Michael from his voice and his eyes. And he also made a video during that period, not Blood on the Dance Floor, that predicts the WTC demolition, but a video with a mask on, basically dressed up as a fat man dancing or something. So there's no time to check these things. You all need to prepare now. If the air alarm goes off now, take cover at least and try to be in a cellar. And after that, you need to be prepared for the flooding, 90-meter high tidal waves. So the coast in the Netherlands is on which side? I need a compass then. For me, north is over there. So there's north there. So to the west, the coast is to the west. So that's over there. So the flood will come from there for me. So determine from where that water will flood, so that you can find a place where you're not swept away by the tidal wave with the houses, etc. Best maybe underground with a scuba suit on or whatever, and then it will slowly, it will be a high pressure tons of water basically, so that will flood pretty fast. There are a couple of movies that show what would happen. So people would be smacked against the wall and their house would collapse on them and they'd die basically. So the problem is also if the water is contaminated, then you'd need a waterproof diver suit. Most of them are skin suits, how do you say? Suit surfers also use. I sold my diving suit. Perhaps for a Breitling or something, I don't know. Anyway, I have a PADI license, so I could also go diving. That would be one way to survive it. You could go near the coast and then go into the sea, diving, and you'd have to have enough air. So you could stay float above water until it happens and then dive, so that you're not swept with that wave onto the coast. And or a little yellow submarine perhaps, something like that. But safest would be to divert to a safe country. So I've thought about it, but I can't find a way. I was thinking, perhaps with a little blow-up boat of Action. New Action stores that sell stuff really cheaply, including little boats, but that's not gonna save me. I think if there would be a 90-meter high tidal wave, or even 20 meters. And I've seen the video of Putin's thermonuclear torpedo, so I'm not convinced he doesn't have one. Oh yeah, I was going to show the nuclear blast craters also. But then I'm afraid I have to end it. I wish I could broadcast forever, basically, but YouTube will be gone, the banks will be gone, all your money will be gone, houses. It depends on your location, basically. People that are not near a blast wave, you can see nuclear maps online. Nuclear targets in the US, for example. And they've planned to kill the Americans and all the other nations, basically, Top Shebogoyim, Harog. According to viciousbabushka.com. and Talmud faith web, even the best of the non-Jews must be killed during war time. So that's Top Shebegoim Marok, people can Google that. And it's covered in one of my previous broadcasts as well, so it's comparable to jihad during wartime. With these 164 jihad Quran verses. So it's set up to reduce the global population to 500 million. This is one US nuclear target map, so where's Texas on this? This one's clearer. Well, the quality is not why it is so small. Low resolution. What's this? Maryland, SD. I don't even know all these states, you know. Though I'm a US citizen, I have dual nationality, so. It's because my father lived in the US, so he's a US citizen. So it's possible Trump is the last president, so then we won't get to vote. 2020 vision. Also based on that book Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, written in 1893 by Ingersoll Lockwood, and the other book by Ingersoll Lockwood, 1900 or The Last President. And it's based on the titles alone. I haven't read these books. And I think I'm afraid we don't have enough time for this. And that there's about 80% probability that it happens tomorrow. It would have happened Sunday already, the 23rd of July. I reported about it. You can check all my videos. If you think it's not going to happen, then chances are you are eternal. You only have to live for about 20 years until they achieve negligible senescence, until they control all factors that control aging. And I think that would only be impeded by a world war. That's not going to help to save your life either, whether you are a king or a pauper. If this it. Declassified nuclear targets. US nuclear targets. WTF. So these are many European countries. Are these... Perhaps I shouldn't even look at this, you know, somebody can just... Perhaps this is made by who knows who, and they can just fill in some dots on what they think should be nuclear targets of the US. And the globe spins in this direction, to the right basically. That's to the east. So my sun shall rise in the east. Okay. So then the wind is going to the west. So then the Netherlands, UK, etc. This will even reach the US if all these nukes would be going off. So right like the wind means that after a nuclear explosion, detonation, there will be a wind traveling away from ground zero where the nukes go off. The wind is generated by the blast wave of these nuclear weapons, so you must travel with the wind. But basically you could argue here that wouldn't work if you travel with the wind, if there's a nuke going off here. Because there are so many targets basically. But then still the dominating wind will blow away from where most nukes have gone off. So it's still the best way to travel away from ground zero. Because some of these nukes, perhaps 80%, will be warded off by the HARP and other defense systems, for example, Iron Dome of Israel, ground-to-air missiles, but also the patented Dr. Bernard Eastland HARP patent describes it. And in Poker Flat, Alaska, basically, here somewhere, there's hidden FIPA array antenna park, frequency independent phased array antennas. It's camouflaged and it's supposedly bigger than HARP. But these are all top secret projects, so there will be sources that will deny it and others might confirm it. But does anybody have any proof? Targeted individuals might know HARP is a fake facility open every 6 years to the public. So it's possible this is a scalar world war, none without a Tesla plasma shield would survive, and that lots of these countries will be flooded by 90-meter high tidal waves. Don't know how high the UK is, exactly London, for example. Well, I'm not going to waste time on that, you can check it out for yourselves. So this is just to warn that several sources claim that it may start tomorrow, the 4th of July. And they've posted this message several times on Reddit. So the original source could be a Mason or somebody else high up there, an old person that wants to help people like me that are trying to do the right thing to prevent this world war, to stall it and contain it to as few countries as possible, because of weapons of mass destruction, nuclear, biological, chemical, and directed energy weapons are usually left out, which may be the most powerful. And nukes may have, since their first atomic tests in 1945, they may have been obsolete because Tesla had his death ray to end all wars, the vegetarian Nikola Tesla, in 1940. So they know they can now with it, but they didn't have these neural networks. So now they can, with the cancer scalar radar, through the wall radar, they can accurately torture people's teeth out of their mouth, dental torture. And they have missile shields that they can generate anywhere, the Tesla plasma shield I've shown many times. So, I wish you all good luck, of course. I hope the real resistance survives. The more of us there are, the better. And in this phase, we can still try to prevent it. We still have 1 day to prepare if it happens tomorrow. And I would advise people in the Netherlands and other countries to go to a safe place, a safe country. That's your best option to survive. And at least find something with a shelter, something below ground. Any type of cellar will do. So anything that's below ground. You can also dig a ditch, basically, put a closet in it. And then after the nukes have gone off, you can open up and they are below that blast wave. You can see these videos of these nukes going off. But there's a blast wave that sweeps away all these houses and stuff in a radius of about 20-30 kilometers. And targets are also airports. So if you're near an airport, big cities, capitals like Amsterdam are probably targets as well. And make sure you're above ground, if possible more than 90 meters above ground. And if their goal is to rule the world from Jerusalem, etc., then the safest country could be Israel. That could also be an argument for claiming that that's not the safest country, that many people know about this prophecy and these plans, and they have taken steps to prevent that. If they're smart, they don't want to be annihilated in a world war, and they realize they don't have a Tesla plasma shield themselves. So it's always best to prevent this. And some people are keen on really reducing global population to 500 million. We've seen these depleted uranium babies. We've seen the explosives going off in the WTC. We've seen the illegal wars in the Middle East, and the possibly millions of terrorists that they've created with these illegal wars, for which they needed the consent of Congress, which they probably wouldn't have had. So many Americans were against these war crimes and illegal wars, and still are against these illegal wars in the Middle East that cost 5,000 US soldiers' lives. And of course, 4.8 trillion cost of war.com, and million dead Iraqi innocent civilians. And military are usually more protected and survive this, their chances of survival are higher than civilians with the BFSA. But the tanks are probably not EMP resistant, and it could be it's sort of a false flag, so these tanks are not available when it happens. They're busy with that exercise at that time. So immediately, if Netanyahu would attack Iran tomorrow, then there could be an immediate retaliation. And it's clear that Iran has already transgressed that limit, 300 kilograms limit of the JCPOA, and it's still binding between Iran and other countries than the US that have also got this agreement with Iran. And it may now also sanction Iran because they did transgress against that limit of 300 kilograms if that's specified in that agreement. I haven't checked that yet, but that may be true. It could also be false. So we can't trust anything we read in the mainstream media, anything anybody says on YouTube. I've been studying this for 10 years, and it's just best to go for the best and prepare for the worst. Say that right. So yeah, I'm gonna have some breakfast. I didn't eat anything yet, and donations are also welcome, so that I could already travel to a safe country. That's via PayPal. On the PayPal button is now working. It wasn't working before. On universalpeace.jimdo.com. Because the problem is I'm not certain it's going to happen tomorrow, and I might not leave until there's some certainty that Netanyahu will attack these facilities, because that's very doubtful, because I think that the rest of the world would not agree with it, that UN would also not agree with an attack on Iran, and that less than 13% of the Israelis may be for a preemptive strike. Though Bolton and others are, according to many known warmongers, and Trump shouldn't listen to them. It's a wise decision of him not to attack Iran, because I would have died of the nuclear torpedoes of Putin or the dike breakage due to the nukes. Sunday, the 23rd. So if you search, you will find more predictions. Of course, most of them will be wrong. And I hope it's not going to happen. But again, now there are two sources, and I cannot confirm that it's not going to happen. I can say that with certainty. If there's any reason that you know of that it's not going to happen, that's good to know and to write in the comments so people can see why it's not going to happen. Even if it's alive, they'd all believe it, then it's not going to happen, because they're not going to take any action then that could lead to this third world war that we're trying to prevent, or something like that, whatever. Oh yeah, well, I don't have to end my broadcast if I don't want to. So yeah, would Top Shebegoyim Harog mean that all, even the best of the non-Jews, will be killed if they're in Israel, if there would be a world war? Or no, they are an ally of the US. The US has spent more on defense than all the other countries combined. So if Iran tries something, then Trump will obliterate parts of Iran, not Iran as a whole, which New York Times implied with their title, basically, with the title of their article. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, or Skype Prologic999 if you want to have a debate, or if you know for sure it's going to happen tomorrow. Then we can brainstorm on ways to prevent it, and what would be the safest country and the best way to survive this. I'm going to eat something. Perhaps I will keep this on for the rest of the day, but I don't want to reveal too much about where I'm going, if I'm going. I don't even know that for sure. And another thing is safety cameras, and making sure that you can come back safely, because it's not at all certain that it will happen tomorrow. The future is not set, there is no fate but what we make for ourselves. Terminator, some Terminator movie. And this is true. If you show somebody the future, then they can make something, prevent something, because they can choose not to be in that time and at that place. Choose not to be in that place at that time, basically. And then the prophecy cannot unfold the way they saw it. So that's another question I have. I've had these precognitive visions. Or must it always come true? Is it certain that it will come true, I wonder? If it's a real precognitive vision, then it was seen through your eyes, and it's impossible if it wouldn't come true. And I know I've had precognitive visions, so actually I don't know, but it's an interesting question. So if I'd have the money, I'd definitely go to Switzerland or Israel, or perhaps even some other country. Perhaps there are other underwater structures or something like that. I would, for one, would not hide at sea because I get seasick, so that's definitely not gonna happen for me. And it may be better to be washed away by the tidal wave. That's how purgy, basically. It's reminding me of klizmas. I talked about it with my father. Or basically it reminded him of a cleansing, so then I got the idea of a klizma. I already tried, nothing helps, I'm still alive. So I hope it doesn't happen, because I'm receiving packages. I really hope that they find a way to prevent this insane Third World War. And some were claiming it's all done by the Masons, not the Jesuits. But in reality, they may be controlled by the Jesuits from behind the scenes, so they want to keep it secret, basically. And all intelligence agencies are Masonic and controlled by the Jesuits, according to Citizens Action Network on Facebook. So that's what they'd have to take over if they'd want to end World War III, if they are the ones creating it. But that's all highly theoretical, you would argue, which I indicate because I'm a conspiracy factist, not a conspiracy theorist. Like Iran is indicating now that they've transgressed the nuclear limit and that they may want to step out of the nuclear agreement and the non-proliferation treaty that Israel didn't sign for some reason. So I have my doubts if it could happen, but theoretically, what is keeping Netanyahu from attacking facilities in Iran where they are enriching uranium more than 300 kilograms, though they need 1200 kilograms for just one nuke. So they have about 1/4, and they're slowly producing more of that higher enriched uranium. So can there still be an agreement? Of course, it's possible that they make an agreement, that Rouhani, Trump, or Putin comes up with a plan to allow inspections, to allow them to enrich uranium more to higher levels, as much as they want, but they have to allow inspections of outsiders, not Iranians, that check what they use that uranium for. And if that's the case, they can't make a nuclear bomb, and then everything's back to normal, the sanctions can be lifted, and then we don't have to read in the news every day about what's happening in Iran again, etc. And then I can stop doing these silly broadcasts about this subject and go to a more serious subject like gaming devices or movies and things like that, you know. Vegetarian food, you have baked Alaska, that's a great dessert. Baked bananas, coconut ice cream that has no dairy in it, it's suitable for vegan people. So what they do is they use the coconut milk and they add yogurt cultures but no dairy products, and it tastes marvelous, so it's even nicer than vanilla ice cream. So that's worth checking out. And you have these Marquez sausages. So that's another reason I don't really want to move. I'm a vegetarian and I have my doctor's prescription for the use of cannabis. And if I'd move to Israel or Switzerland, then how am I going to get my medicine, you know? It's too risky to take it across the border. Perhaps there are ways to do that safely. I think Switzerland would be less of a problem if we just jump in our car and drive there now. It would take about 12 hours to get there. People could also rent a van. That's another idea. Because it will be destroyed by the EMP unless you ground the car basically with a little cable to a heater that's grounded or something else that's grounded, and it might survive the EMP, and then you can still use the van or car. And a van can also be used perhaps also with a caravan. You can just park it somewhere. That's not legal. I think you have to have a permit or rent some space. But that may be a cheap solution as well, and then you can drive anywhere you want to and have a nice holiday that way. In Switzerland, of course, there might still be very high mountains with snow. I don't know if they're all snowless now, if it's all green. You can go swimming in the swimming pool, but not in the sea. And you have to climb these mountains and stuff. But they're independent or whatever, and they're not EU. So the 28 EU member countries disagree with Trump's annexations, and annexation is generally considered to be an illegal act according to Wikipedia. And then we saw all these new countries of the US. Is it really Future of Life Institute? 1100 declassified US nuclear targets. So is the Netherlands, France, and Portugal, etc. going to be flooded by these tidal waves? Are they going to set off this nuclear torpedo in the Atlantic Ocean? Or where would that go off then? And then that ripple would reach all these countries. Ireland and UK might be high enough above sea level. But in the Netherlands we're at -5, for example. There are height maps available online as well. I've shown it in previous broadcasts. For supposed deterrence. So you can see that the west of Germany is not a target, and neither is Italy, but these other countries, Czech Republic, East Germany, Austria, also Switzerland is right about here. Switzerland is not a US target, but I think it's weird that these countries are also US targets. Poland, Ukraine, Turkey is partially, or not? No, not Turkey, not Iran, but North Iran, perhaps. Anyway, you can see it for yourselves. So these countries here are going to get nuked completely, even by the US as a deterrent, supposedly. I can safely read this, I think, without violating user policy.
The National Security Archives recently published a declassified list of US nuclear targets from.
The idea is also I will remove this broadcast if it doesn't happen because of the thing that was in it earlier, which I don't want to mention again. So then if it doesn't happen tomorrow, I could remove it the 5th if I'm back from wherever I'm going, if I'm going anywhere.
1956, which span 1,100 locations across Eastern Europe, Russia, China, and North Korea. The map below shows all 1,100 nuclear targets from that list, and we've partnered with NukeMap to demonstrate how catastrophic a nuclear exchange between the United States and Russia could be. If you click detonate from any of the dots, you can see how large an area would be destroyed by the bomb of your choice, as well as how many people could be killed.
There's a detonate button. Nukes are sick, so I'm for dismantling all nukes, but they could be real, so I clicked anyway. Hopefully this is not connected to the real thing, like in war games or whatever. But then we'd hear the air alarm in about 16 minutes or something. Or not, depends how far this population reduction conspiracy goes, with remote torture weapons being real and so is synthetic telepathy. We're living in a technocracy, not a democracy, you could argue. So this map is nice. You can click any US target. So these are targets of the US and Poland. What's this? For example, Serbs, Germany, Merseburg, Germany. Zatek, Czech Republic, Warsaw, Poland, Warsaw, detonate. Oh, I have to click detonate twice. That's a safety measure. Estimated fatalities 440,570 and estimated injuries 782,750. And the one that would go off in Warsaw. But that's so weird. US has targets in US has nuclear targets. Warsaw is one of them, supposedly, according to this nuke map in futureoflife.org. Is this it's not a scam, I think. Is this a satirical website or something? Well, I'm against it. If European countries, Europe is an ally of the US, and so is Israel, then you can't go nuke here because that would also affect Israel negatively. And Europe as well, and the US as well, because the Earth is spinning in that direction, from left to right. The east is on this side, west is on this side. If north is on this side, at the top. So, I'm against it. These are nuke targets. Polish women can also be very good looking, German women. And there are women in all of these countries. Men as well. And birds, and so many species. They have that seed bank in Norway, but that probably doesn't cover like 80% of the species on our planet. Not even that, with many species yet to be discovered. So some species, perhaps lots of species, will die out if they're really gonna do this thing. And it's a safe bet to say that there are people that would, and perhaps even people that could do it and will do it. And some claim it's not a matter of if, but only when these nukes are going to go off, which is the only thing that they can do. They can't save lives, they cannot achieve negligible senescence. So I would put a big cross through this thing. Make it so that it's not going to happen. That's what we must do. And perhaps we're not doing enough for that. It's that quote again, perhaps Orwell. All it took for evil to win was for good people to sit back and do nothing. We've seen the Second World War. Though there was an attempt to bomb Hitler, I think. They didn't prevent that, basically. So how do we know the Second World War was real? Well, one thing is survivors that can tell the story, and there are so many of them that it makes it extremely unlikely that there would be some kind of conspiracy to make us all believe that there was a Second World War, but in reality there wasn't, to prevent the Third World War, to prevent a world war. the Second or First World War. So that's not going to help either, because we have to deal with reality, face reality, and take appropriate measures. Oh wow. Door is now collecting above my cloudbuster, and it will become orgone. And take your cloudbusters with you wherever you go. Always take the weather with you, etc. Everywhere you go. 1417. So we have 1 day to prepare, and people in the Netherlands can just put something in a bag, drive off to Switzerland and find something there, or take a tent and place it in some hidden place where it's not too cold. And then you also need blow up airbed from Action. Which are cheap, so it's good to have anyway. You could also use it when you go to Scheveningen or some other beach, and then float on the water on the airbed near the palm trees, the coconuts, and nude girls on your island, on your Lolita Island, or your new Lolita Island if you're Epstein. But perhaps it's not a new Lolita Island, it's just a normal island this time. Perhaps the safest place to be during World War III. I think that Trump might be in Air Force One when it happens, but perhaps it was the June 23rd scenario that didn't happen because he decided at the last moment not to press ahead with the bombings, because it would be disproportionate punishment. And there's a use in telling this story again and again, because punishment must always be proportionate to the crime. So it's not just to kill innocent civilians on the other side. We have to get the people responsible for this world war that are planning to reduce the global population to 500 million and impose their satanic Luciferian totalitarian global government, and be a spoke in that world war wheel of the world war machine. So we roll forward to our own self-destruction and self-annihilate for the earth. I can see it now, Rabboni Lord, I am saved. We're gonna do this. No, I meant be a branch or stick in the spoke of the world war machine. That sounds better. In other words, prevent world war by any means necessary. So people can Skype me if there's any information about Netanyahu planning to bomb tomorrow, or how it's going to unfold. There are two sources that claim. One was the purge will start tomorrow, 4th of July 2019, and the other one was these several sources on reddit.com that have posted that tomorrow World War III will start. And that's 2 months ago, about 2 months ago or something. So that's far in advance, because they've planned this. It doesn't make it more unlikely or likely that it's true or false. So any evidence or what you think, if you know stuff, if you're an insider, you can also be anonymous on my show. I can morph your voice. Or you could just post a message with anonymous email or something like that. They're scanning our brain waves, that's true. So if you're a Mason and you've taken an oath, well, it's a good idea not to break it, but if you die in a world war, that's not a good idea either. And you could perhaps find a way that talking about this is not in violation of your oath, basically. But the idea is, if they know about this, they've planned it, then they've taken an oath, and any of them that talk about this are tortured to death themselves, basically, so they can't violate their oath. But if 7 billion people's lives are at stake, and some more heroic real heroes, and people that realize that have made that calculation, they're so old they might die soon, and then they might do the right thing for us all. So these might be really special predictions in reality. They're also scanning my mind, so we can prevent certain things, and we can choose to do only things that we can do anything about, that we have control over, and leave the rest for what it is, and not think about it anymore, since it's a waste of time if the world war starts tomorrow. Which may be total nonsense, and I hope so, but I can't confirm that yet. So I can't confirm that it will or will not happen, and I think we should refrain from doing so without any evidence. So the message is, be prepared anyway, whether it happens or not, it's best to be prepared. And today we can still get all that stuff. The stores are still open, electronic equipment is still working, we're not drowned yet, etc. So what would have a more repellent effect than none without a scalar Tesla plasma shield would survive World War III? So it's not some invisible shield, it's a tangible, basically anything that goes through it is oblivionated, you could argue. It's disintegrated by the Tesla plasma shield. And it's the only way that can protect your brainwave. The only thing that can protect your brainwave, or the only way to protect your brainwave against these scalar waves that penetrate all materials known to man. And some types of scalar waves travel faster than the speed of light. So that would be the best solution for 5G, not cancer cell phone radiation. And it proves beyond any reasonable doubt the only reason for this 5G cancer cell phone network is to reduce the global population. Because scientists know and agree that Tesla's wireless energy is real. And CIA has also recently released documents about scalar that have the word scalar in them in reality. I've covered it on my channel. So let's not do this and prevent total self-annihilation somehow. There are infinite ways to prevent it. I think the computers that control the nukes are not connected to the internet. And they shouldn't be, of course. This is also weird. It's a map of Europe and it says nuclear war US map. US map. It's not even capital letters US. Okay. When I click on that, I get the US map, and there's also a map, several maps of Europe, apparently. Nuke map at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 million. But when I click on that, I get transferred to other websites. So I don't, this is blognuclearsecrecy.com. Restricted data, the nuclear secrecy blog. So I'm not gonna review that now because I don't want to reveal anything that may not be revealed. According to the government officials. And I don't know if anything like that is on that blog, probably not, but just to be sure. I gotta prepare, and so I must end this broadcast now. So people can always Skype me, do stuff for universal peace. And thanks to you all, there's a better timeline. I think that's true. Once people know, they cannot unknow the truth. And the truth doesn't always set you free. Telling the truth is considered a legal act. Act of resistance. What do they write? Is it also an Orwell quote? During times of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act, George Orwell. The further a society drifts from truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. I wonder if he was vegetarian as well. Nikola Tesla was, and so are many other geniuses, so it's healthier to be vegan as long as you take enough vitamin B12, because eating animal protein, especially animal fat, increases your cancer risk. The documentary is What the Health on Vimeo. Skype Prologic999 if you have any information concerning this World War III threat, and please help to prevent this, and keep your cameras ready to film a possible next false flag attack in Iran or in the US, anywhere in the world, as part of this World War III agenda. So you could argue it's a theory, or is it proven that there are people in this world that are trying to create a third world war? And if so, how can we prevent it? And knowing who is behind it and stuff, that becomes crucial. Also, if we want to prevent this world war, not just prevent world war, but also stall it and contain it to as few countries as possible to survive it ourselves. So survival is all, and it is possible to live happily eternally because everything is energy, so don't let anybody tell you it's impossible. And don't believe in fictional entities, don't give your life in a world war, don't choose sides, safety first. So I advise you all to go to a safe country now, or seek shelter and have a radiological water filter and storable food ready. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully there will be another broadcast on Try Something.Vegetarian soon. So stay tuned, check my channel daily. But perhaps this is my last broadcast. Next one would be the 5th of July, if I would go anywhere, or perhaps today already if I decide to stay. So what do you all think I should do? Should I go to Switzerland, to Israel, or to some other safe country, or stay here in the Netherlands, where I have everything? All my stuff is here, including my Kindle reader, Les Aventures de Tintin, Les Cigares du Pharaon. Real. I could take that with me also, but I think it's you'd need a metal bin that's grounded. Put your electronic devices in there if you want them to survive EMP, and put evidence on a DVD-ROM or CD-ROM, so it's EMP resistance, and prevent EMP if you want to keep all these nice electronic devices. So many people dread a world war and they are trying to do stuff to prevent it. That's great, awesome. And I hope you all get better ideas because of my broadcasts. And perhaps you are the only reason we're all still alive and living in a civilized, reasonably civilized society and world. Thanks to you. Awesome. Please like, subscribe, spread this important video on your timeline for universal peace. Prepare, protection, love, peace, happiness, healing, ideas. To do it now.